Heidi ho, everyone, and welcome aboard. It is the last show of the week, and what a week it's been. Not
good week.
I think it's been I was only going to say a piss week. I shouldn't say that. I didn't think it was a good week. It's going okay, kind of trading wise, but gee, it's a little bit boring, I've got to say. I thought the market was. I didn't even look at the market yesterday, to be honest, because I was enjoying my day off. But of what I saw today, there was a fair bit of doji stuff going on, or near doji stuff going on. Certainly in the currency markets. How was the rest of the asset classes going, mate?
Oh, going pretty well. In actual fact, we might even have a trade. Hold on a second.
Okay, cool. We might have a trade a bit later as well, depending on how the euro sets up for me. Got a bit of a doji candle at the moment. I don't want that. I want it to be a bull bar, but we'll see how we go.
Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, right, let's have a look. Let's take the screen for just a second. Now, I don't know whether we'll see what we can do with this one. Why can't I share my screen?
I don't know. Are you
there we go.
A real person?
Exit there. There we go. There we go. That's perfect. So we want to go here. Right. So the trade is the dollar Swiss long is what I'm after here, mates. Now we talked a lot about volume yesterday in the session, and you can see that there has been sort of like quite a lot of volume in this session. Now this is yesterday's trading, so you can see that accumulatively it's probably not that high, and this is a 15. But what this is currently saying, let's blow this up a little bit. What this is currently saying is that this particular spike in volume that we're seeing down here on this bearish bar suggests that we are probably going to get some downside. So I'm just waiting for this one to turn around. Now I'm going to draw this trend line here, and let's have a look at this on just a bit more detail as well with the pivots on. Here's the pivot. So you can see that it's rejecting that weekly pivot. Not a huge shock in many respects. Now let's just have a look at the trade line or the trend line here. See what that would say. That sort of says. That says there. Now let's just check the fib. We'll check a fib from here. Yeah, the daily pivot looks really good for a bounce. And we'll check a fib from here. And we're going to have to change the color of this one. Not those ones. Fib levels. Let's make these white. There's some confluence here. There's a 50% retracement of the big move here. And you can see that there are fibs here. Now, I'm just going to draw this level in and see what else is here. Okay, let's get rid of these. Change it to a longer term time frame. Yeah, I quite like that line there, mate. There's a decent level. Now on the longer term time frames, it actually looks like it could come down a little bit further. But let's see what we got: 99, 10 down, 20 up. That looks pretty good. So here's the trade here. Now I'm not sure what this is going to cost, so I'm going to put in 10 to start with, and I'm going to go 9, 11. This area at 91.17. Buy limit at 91.17. I'm going to put a stop loss under the pivot down here at 91.06. Now let's just have a look what that looks like. See what that's going to cost. Not a great deal. You want more on than that. Okay, so So I'm gonna put a couple of trades on here. Let's put it at that. Actually, I could probably do it live from here on in. So we'll see if it comes down here. But the idea really is to try and get in down here with a couple of positions, so we can take half off a potential 2-to-1. And if it gets to that 2-to-1, then I'm going to move stops at break even. So I will write it up here. Here we go. I'm just going to check. Are you just checking the chat box?
Yes, mate.
Great. Okay. Checking this chat as well. Nobody's in there. Okay. Right. So I am looking for entry 0.9117, and this is dollar CAD, and it's dollar Swiss, and this is USD Swiss, and this is a long. So I'm looking for the long position here. So 0.9117. Now the stop loss is going to be below the daily pivot. So 0.9106. So that gives us about 11 down, and then we're going to have a take profit 1, where I'm going to take half if we get up there. And that's going to be at the monthly pivot, which looks like it's 0.91. Looks like 38. Let's just make sure that's right. Yeah. So 3.9 gets us up there. So that's what I'm going to go for, mate. It may not come back as far as I'd like here, but we will see. Quite a good rejection of the area already. I'm just going to check this on a 5. Yeah, actually the 5 may well hold that up again. So the 20 area might be as good as it gets, but that's going to be the plan for right now. Might not get into that. I think if I'd seen that 5 just a few seconds earlier, then I would have traded that at 20, which still would have been good enough. But now we've popped up. Let's just wait for it to come back down here. So I may as well put in the orders. 0.91. 17. Oops, that's the stop loss, 0.9106. .9117. So let's place that one. Actually, that needs to go up a little bit. Looks like it's more like 18, actually, 0.9118. Now with this on the same again. .9118 for the entry. 0.9106 or 07 for the stop loss is fine. 0.9107 for the stop loss. And this I'm going to take profit at 0.9138. Stop loss 0.9107, that's fine. Pending order buy limit 0.9118. There we go. Right, we'll see what happens with that, mates. Yeah, all sorted. I'll talk about the reasons behind the trade after we've just done a little bit more of a review. But
all right, mate. Whilst on your chart, do you want to give your version of SF's question? And hi, SF, to you.
Oh, I didn't see it. What's SF's question?
He wants our opinion on Kiwi US dollar short on the 4-hour chart. I have
Kiwi
an opinion,
dollar short.
I thought you might have one as well.
Yeah, let's have a look. So Kiwi dollar short on the 4-hour chart. So firstly, I'm all up for anything which is involving going long with a dollar. So I really like that that particular take. But let's start way out and see what we've got on the Kiwi and see where that line might be. So Kiwi dollar on the monthlies there, they're not so relevant. The weekly looks like it could actually end up being a shade weaker. If we end up a little bit lower today, then we might actually see a decent pullback in the Kiwi dollar. So liking that so far. So yeah, it's something that you'd want to stay in if you can get some momentum to the downside. The daily looks a little bit different. I don't know. Let's just check the volume on this. Let's see what that's showing us. Yeah, a little bit weak, isn't it? I mean, the volume as this has gone up has been a little bit weak, so that does support a potential move to the downside in many respects down here. So yeah, like that aspect. Let's have a look at the 4-hour, then start analyzing the actual pattern. And what I see is a channel by the looks of things. It's a little bit scruffy, but it looks like a bit of a channel there, which means that this lower line might be a first take profit area. That's where I'd want it. 0.6859 would be the lower line that I'd want to see some profit taken. I'm also seeing a potential for a possible little head and shoulders going on here, but maybe even a wider pattern where this is the head and this is the left shoulder here. So it might take a little bit of time for that one, but it doesn't look too bad still. Let's now check it on the and look at that on the 4-hour push to the downside with a bit of a spike in volume, not huge, but a bit of a spike in volume. So it does appear that there's some confidence with the dollar today.
Yeah, it's the hottest ticket on the chart that I've got anyway, on the my little relative strength indicator.
That's
Nothing's
really good.
Outdoing it.
Right. So we got we've also got a little bit of an issue here. So let's see where it might go to, because you're going to want a good price here. There's a head and shoulders pattern potentially forming, and this isn't a 4-hour chart. So this actually is suggesting it could take a little while longer, that we might not even get the move today, but it might be tomorrow. But that's okay. If there's a move tomorrow, that would still support your trade as long as you're willing to sit through the potential. Now you'd still want to get in today would be my advice, because you don't know if this head and shoulders is going to form. It might be that the dollar just is going to be moving to the downside today, but this is an area of support, so you want to be as far away as possible from that potential area before you take the trade. So let's have a look how that can be done with some shorter term time frames. So you can see that line is definitely in existence. By the looks of this, it looks like we've had a bounce off that area. So a bit of a boost to the upside looks like it could be on. Where does the chart look like it's coming to is the question. That's a bit tricky, because that looks like it might not give you another opportunity any higher at this stage. Let's put up a fib. At this particular point, this area here is a little bit too dangerous to not want it to go through there first and then come and retrace it. I think your directional bias is right. I like dollar a bit of dollar strength, I think, is on the cards. I think this area is a little bit close to get into that there. So you want to start thinking about it, in my opinion anyway. I'd want to start thinking about it as 0.6904, or maybe even as high as 0.6911, or you let it go through, or I would want to let it go through this area, come and retest it, which it probably will do, and you'll end up with a similar price, but with probably a bit more certainty. What's what could happen here is we could see this come to the downside, level off around here somewhere, and then start pushing up again. And if it did start to push up again, then you've probably got your trade in the next wave. So it starts pushing up from there, taking you around this this trend line, which isn't that far away from here. And I don't know exactly which part of the trend line, but it'd be the trend line that I'd want to aim for. But a close down below would be the best. A close down below, a return to the line, and then traded it short. That would give you a bit more. That would give me a bit more confidence in that trade. If that doesn't come back to that point, then things are a little bit easier, because you can actually just look for a bit more upside before you're sort of looking to potentially get out of the trade. This inverted head and shoulders may start to form, but then if you can trade somewhere along the neckline to the downside, then you've got some room before you get here, which would make things a bit safer. I think the current area isn't safe enough, but I like the direction, I like the sentiment, but I think you're either waiting for a break and a retest or a bit of a boost higher before you can get into that one. What have you got, mate?
Mate, it's kind of interesting what I've got, and I was looking also to trade against the against the dollar, yes, but going in the opposite direction. I was looking at euro dollar, and this is what I've got on euro dollar. It's very, very similar to what we've got on Kiwi dollar, but I'll point to what I'm looking at on Kiwi dollar, and it doesn't look as great as euro dollar does to me. And the reason it doesn't is because we've broken a long-term trend line, a long-term trend line. This goes back to 2017. So I'm on the weekly chart here. So we have broken that area. We've also broken this, or the top of this range that we have been in. We've also got, well, it's not perfect, I'd have to say, but there's certainly the hint of an inverted head and shoulders there for me already. I would like to have seen it dip a little bit further, but it really has shown me by breaking these levels where you've got this confluence here that's been broken, that there is more upside to Kiwi US dollar. Now, timing on that, of course, that's a weekly chart, is very, very different on the 4-hour chart. So I can see that it's rejecting this level here. Not sure that's the key level. That's probably the key level there, I would have thought. And we have rejected that again. So I like the short term. I like the short term bias, similar to what Ash does. So if the short term bias is short back to this area here to retest it, going back to the weekly chart again. So back to this area to retest it, or even the trend line to retest that. Totally see that. And that may well be happening with this potential, if you like, same trend line as Ash. Got an untested weekly pivot below us. I don't mind the trade if it is a bullish decisive bar. Whack your entry under there. Where your stop goes is probably questionable. I'd probably want to get it above that level there, so above the red line and the daily pivot. I'm not against the trade, but do take into consideration that you have a very strong bias to the upside longer term. Or sorry, I have a very strong bias to the upside longer term, but I do want to see a pullback to retest those levels, most certainly. But that's what I've got in my head, right? I've got this as a long in the bigger picture. You can see the strength of that breakout there now, right? On the monthly chart, we've got 2 weeks to go in the, well, not 2 weeks, 10 days or so to go in the month. So that's not definitive as yet, but certainly the weekly chart is, and that is my bias long term. So I'll be trading against my bias to trade this short, but that's not a problem. I can definitely see that there's a trade there. If you were to get maybe stop loss there, 45 pips, you've got 25 to get before you get to the weekly pivot, and then your next target's probably either here or down here where I've got that 67.80 level. So the trade would be worth it. I don't have a problem with that. What's the daily chart looking like? So you're still going to have a higher low even down to here. So there's probably enough reward in it to take the trade. But yep, Just bear in mind that breakout is pretty strong above this level, and the weekly pivot retracement. Certainly, I don't think I'll be looking for a longer term trade there. That would be my opinion. But as I said from the outset, I'm looking to trade euro dollar because pretty much the weekly pivot's in play here as well, and the daily pivot's been tested, rebroken, blah 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 blah. Really, however, I would like a lower high. I don't know why I can never say those words together. A lower high is what I'm looking for here, really. So I just, not real certain on it, to be honest, on whether the dollar is going north, south, or indeed sideways. Let's have a look at the dollar index. Hasn't done too much, has it, really, for how long now? What have I got there? Weekly chart. We've now been in this range. We're at the bottom of it, I'd have to say that. And we're at the longer term trend line as well. So it's still fighting there, still fighting to get back above this. But you can see where it's landlocked. It's landlocked in between the two trend lines, and has been there now for 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Why is it going to change now is the question. And is it going to change now? And if it's not going to change now, then maybe we do have reason to think it can rally, both as a bounce off the bottom and longer term trend line. But of course, more importantly for me, or just as importantly for me, let's put it that way, we're at the bottom of that range, and I'll be looking for a way to trade that long. Not that I can trade it long, but it makes sense to go to euro dollar for me. And therefore, if I do get the candle I'm looking for, bullish decisive bar right now on the 4-hour chart, I would look to trade that. But at the moment, with 22 minutes to go in this candle, don't look that likely. It's got to get up here somewhere before I'd like it. We will see. And we're also below DS2 for our entry. That also makes me a little bit on the quiet side. It's not impossible for me to do that on a 4-hour chart, but it's not desirable either. We'll see how we go. Other things of interest that I am in, positions I'm in at the moment, that some of you guys may well be in, and also, okay, what am I in? I'm in the pound short. I think I'm still in the pound short. Yep. So the pound short, we traded this morning at 132.41. Actually, it got there pretty quickly, didn't it? That's the 4-hour chart I'm looking at. It's tried again to rally back, but the basis of this trade is pretty clear. You should be able to see that pretty clearly on your chart, why I'm trading this. Again, it's back inside a range, long retracement, and then we got equal lower highs. And that bar, because it's white, is something that I do like to see. I've already taken my first profit here and am trading this now for free. So all we need, of course, is price to get down to here, and we'll have a happy day. That is pound US dollar. I'm also in a couple more. Aussie yen. Now, Aussie yen, we did trade, can't quite remember. That was the original order. And I can't remember if I actually took first profit on that or just closed it at entry. I think I just closed it at entry from memory. And then we had today's news. Now, today's news was very interesting for me because if you have a look at the Forex Factory, which I'm about to do, you will see that the employment change in Australia was a big, big beat on what was forecast and certainly what was previous. Now, I'm not sure who makes these numbers up, to be honest. They're supposed to be economists, but you've really got to put your thinking cap on there and go, well, why would they be forecasting that when Australia is now is coronavirus free virtually? I think there's a couple of cases in South Australia at the moment. But Victoria's been 20 days now without a case, and they were the problem spot. They were certainly the hot spot. There's nothing else around that I know of. And therefore, all these people are going back to work. So why wouldn't that be a good result? This is month on month, don't forget. It's not year on year or anything like that. So month on month, you've got to be expecting a dramatic increase. So I don't think, and the market's not stupid either, right? The market knows exactly what I'm saying to be true. And for that reason, the market hasn't moved at all on the Aussie as a result of that number being a massive beat. The unemployment rate is worse than previous, better than forecast. That's the key. It's worse than previous. So I think the forecast on both accounts has been a shoddy one, or certainly not one that you would like to be writing home to mother about. And for that reason, when I saw, and I was in front of the charts at the time, but I only had one open, and this was Aussie yen, and I saw it. It didn't even test the daily pivot on the back of that news. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, okay, if that's not happening, then guess what? Something else is happening. So we just snuck a little order in on Aussie yen at that level there. And I had a little bit of a heart flutter, but it's since gone on with the job, and I think that looks okay now, Aussie yen. So I'm happy with that position also. And there is one other, CAD yen. CAD yen. There it is. CAD yen, I think we traded this in last night's show. Could be wrong. I get confused with, there's that many shows I'm in. It's just crazy as to when we traded this one. That's just got a halt on it at the moment. This candle has done nothing all day long, up and down a little bit, but really not a great candle. And entries here, we haven't taken profit on this one yet, which concerns me a little bit. I think I'd be okay to hold this until we got to close above that line there. If we got to close above that line there, I think I would close the trade. That would be in a small losing position. But whilst we're in this winning position, if we got to the monthly pivot or near the monthly pivot, which I think is where my take profit level is, be just above there, I would imagine, 79.06. Yeah, that's where the take profit level is. So got a little bit of work to do, but I can't see any reason why it wouldn't go there. But again, as I say, if it closes up here, then I will not be interested in staying in that trade any longer, because essentially you would then have it's a complex one, but it's a reversal pattern here, sitting here, and then technically you're going to have a higher low. So that's definitely worth watching. And that's pretty much where I'm at, mate. As I say, trying to find a way into euro dollar, but that looks to have gone, that particular trade at this point anyway. We might be able to catch it on a smaller time frame, but it won't be on this candle. This looks more to me like a buy right now than it does a sell. So that's where I'm at.
They look a little bit weak, actually, at the minute. There is a
put your mic down, mate.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Yeah, they look a little bit weak at the minute, the markets, and I think some upside in the dollar is probably on. I am also looking at Ethereum as well for some potential downside, and I will show you that. Maybe we'll wait for the US because we've only got 15 seconds left. So I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm looking for with Ethereum, and also with the FTSE 100 as well. So I think there is some general weakness around, and we'll just analyze that and see what some of the barometers tell us about that. The potential for some trades.
All right, bud. Those of you who are leaving us now on YouTube, thank you very much for your company throughout the week. Hope it's been a profitable one for you, or is being a profitable one for you. And we look forward to your company next week when we'll do it all again. See you guys.
Absolutely. See you then, guys.
Okay, I will assume that we are clear, and therefore I will rip into